think right now we're going to transition because I think we have John Gallagher who's going to be up next. We're going to jump into some of the biggest takeaways that we saw at the Future of Supply Chain. John, we're excited to have you on this morning.
Hey, how are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on. It was good meeting you guys finally down over in Arkansas.
Yeah, one of my biggest takeaways from the event is getting to meet all of the FreightWave folks who I've seen on town halls and who I've talked to, not face-to-face, camera to camera through the last year and a half. And so it was really great to meet you as well, John. And you were there kind of doing some just overarching journalistic coverage for us. We know that your beat is typically Washington. You write some ocean stuff. Tell us a little bit about what your thoughts and impressions were about the full Future of Supply Chain event.
Yeah, sure, and like you said, it was good. I mean, there weren't, as you say, I cover regulations, Congress, and that type of thing. So I wasn't going. I know we didn't have specific panels on that. It was more of a lot of technology stuff, but it's really helpful to go to these things and actually meet the people that are affected by this stuff, and make contacts there. And I guess the first impression I had was there. There was a lot of excitement there. Even despite, we were going into this, a lot of uncertainty in the markets right now, and freight markets trending down, but you would not have known it there. As you guys saw, you wouldn't have known it because there was a lot of excitement, a lot of people interested in like all those different types of technology, To speak to that, so one of the sessions I went to, I believe it was the market update on Tuesday when they were talking about. I saw this chart where it showed spot rates. It showed how spot rates were coming down below contract rates. It was sort of like a big X, I think, and that kind of highlighted why that you would think there would be a lot of this uncertainty and a lot of trepidation in the marketplace right now. They were talking about how there's going to be a new bottom to the spot market. Spot rates even before COVID, like back to a bottom below that was at below 2019. And you combine that with the geopolitical turmoil that's out there. And I forgot who it was, but there was even the mention of not just a freight recession, but a global freight recession. So to reflect some of that bearish outlook, I think even I covered a couple of one of the venture capital panels, and there had been talk that's going to be reflected in the amount of money that's going to go into some of the startups in this sector. And I believe it was J.P. Hampstead was talking to a woman, Carolyn Duffy. She's from let me see the name, Construct Capital. And JP asked her that very question, like toward the end, given how the market outlook is right now, what are you as a venture capitalist, as an investor, what are your thoughts? And her answer was that she talked about reverse logistics and how that's kind of an not up and coming, it's been around, but there's going to be even more emphasis in that side of the last mile delivery market, and how there is still an appetite. There might be some trepidation out there, but there is basically, she was excited. She was saying that there's going to be that's what her firm is looking for, to invest in the supply chain. She didn't see, despite the tension out there, she thought there's a huge market, even maybe because of, and not despite the market downturn, because when you have this volatility out there, that's even more. There's more demand for the types of solutions, as they say, that actually that are better at either dealing with the market downturns and getting the most out of the capacity that's out there, or improves upon that. So that was pretty interesting too. There's also I was in one of the technology I'm forgetting the names of the 5 minute quick demos. So one of them was called Quick Loads, and it was basically a means of getting it's a container lifting device that you put on a truck trailer, and it was on an app that you can actually do it. The driver of the drayage truck can actually lift the container onto the flatbed with this device automatically. It takes like 3 minutes. So this is a way of getting around some of the things we've been talking about this year with regards to congestion at the port terminals, and how it can actually, because of the speed and because it's so flexible, you can actually do these pop-up container yards. Again, what we've been talking about, something the Biden administration has been pushing for to relieve some of the congestion around the ports. And this, the way he described it and the way he did a video, he did an actual video of it as we were watching it. It was so quick that if a technology like that sort of took hold, it could address some of these supply chain issues and some of these things that the administration has been working on. So I thought that was pretty interesting too. And as you saw, all that software out there that the carriers are looking to better align freight demand into the visible lanes, and to take more advantage now that's going to be needed more than ever as we have a downturn, to take advantage of oversupply in some lanes and weaker supply in others, and just to sort of match that up. So I thought that was fascinating of some of those things that I could actually attend and see how this stuff works.
And show awards, because they did a really, really good job. John, we've only got about a minute left, but before we let you go, we heard from Jonathan Hoffman, who is the former spokesperson at the Pentagon, and he gave an outlook that was, he apologized. He was like, I'm sorry, it's not sunshine and rainbows to start off that second day of the future of supply chain. Can you kind of talk about his sentiment about the geopolitical stress and the threat of that global freight recession, and if that's kind of echoed in the sentiment in Washington right now overall?
Yeah, it is. It is echoed a bit. And that's why, Kaylee, we have such a strong backing for this. The thing in Washington that I guess that I cover that goes directly to his point is the Ocean Shipping Reform Act and all the support that has right now. In fact, it has 3 different avenues of passing. So it's not. I think I mentioned before. It's not really if that's going to pass, but when it's going to pass. So bills like that, and also things like issues affecting on the trucking side, things like pay, like driver pay, which affects the supply chain in a smaller way, but just because to get more to address more drivers into the market, that. There's bills there that, we'll see if those have traction. But those are a couple of areas where his sentiment is actually, that does match up with what I'm hearing in terms of what I cover.
Absolutely, John. Well, thank you for joining us today on the Revamped FreightWaves Now. Great to have you as always. We'll talk to you next week. Right now, we're going to toss it over to The Wall. We've got our first carrier update this morning with Thomas Wass.